Round 24 of the championship, pole position at this meeting to Dion Gowder from Will McIntyre. His arch rival Louis Sharp is on row 2. The new name, Griffin Peebles, had an excellent qualifying. He starts 4th, and then Kanato Lee and Akil Alibi on row 3. Row 4, Jack Sherwood and Gustav Johnson. Then it's Noah Lyle and Gabe Stilth, Josh Irfan and Mika Abrahams on row 6. 7th row, Jimmy Pazik and Kai Darianani, Pat Hoytsenroder and James Higgins on row 8. They're followed by Deegan Fairclough and Dowie De Decker, who we saw pole on the reverse grid race, and the man at the back of the grid is Isaac Barashi. The race meeting not going Isaac's way so far, but he will be looking to try and go forward. I went down to the holding area. Jamie Caroline's just joined us from the holding area, and luckily it's just adjacent to our commentary boxes, so it was a nice chance for me to go and have a quick natter with some of the drivers before they go out on track. And everybody fairly chilled, but your man Louis Sharp was chatting. You've been coaching Louis and you were having a quick word with him. He was pretty focused, but he's still happy to chat to people and just put us in his frame of mind, and he seems fairly relaxed.
Yeah, Lou's got quite a relaxed nature to him. It must be the Kiwi side of the world that brings that out in him, but no, he's a good kid. He's good to work with, very analytical. Everything you tell him to do, he tries. You could tell him to turn once flat and he'd try it, so he has a lot of respect for my opinion on things, and he's always asking what I think of a scenario and stuff. So yeah, he's a good kid to work with. Unfortunate that the win yesterday that we inherited has been overturned.
Oh, has it?
Yeah, been overturned. So I think Will's got an 14-point lead now after the last race.
Right, okay, that's not on the timing when I looked at it lunch break, so that's how quickly
it hasn't updated on TSL and stuff.
That's how quickly things moved, isn't it, at meetings? And you know all about judicials, hey?
Yeah, been protested enough.
So, okay, thanks for that, Joe, because I didn't know that. So that's why we have you in the box. Thanks, fella. So it is Will McIntyre then. So 14-point lead?
Yeah, well, like we said at our school, maths wasn't great, but I left the engineers to work that one out, and they come to the same figure. So
school coming in for some stick once again. They've never come back to me, so they obviously don't mind. Dion Gowder, though, back on pole. He will have a pole at Donington Park next time we see these cars. That, as we've said before, is carried over from Snetterton. So it's Rodin Carlin on pole. High-tech pulsate, Will McIntyre alongside the championship leader, then Louis Sharp. We're ready to go. As you can see, the due process being completed at the back of the field. So it's Gowder and McIntyre. Louis Sharp in 3rd will look to get a good start as well. They are all away, and well, Noah Lyle trying to get up in between the two Chris Dittman racing cars. It's McIntyre in 2nd. Good start by Gowder. Good start too by Louis Sharp in 3rd. That's the key thing. If you can't get into the lead, get it away smoothly. Sharp's going to have a look around the outside, and a mistake there from Sharp. Runs wide. He was going for it, but that didn't pay off, Jamie.
No, it must be a bit of tyre tent there, having a little lock up and just running wide. Unfortunately, it's the same thing that happened to Gowder in race 1 yesterday, but unfortunately not what he was planning there.
Louis is going to have to go for it, though, and that's going to accentuate the points even more. I don't know what Will McIntyre will have seen in his mirrors, but he will get the signals from his pit team for sure. This leaves McIntyre now clear to have a go at Dion Gowder in this 20-minute ROKiT F4 British Championship race. Alibi fending off the number 6 car, Kanato Lee. So Alibi's got ahead of Lee, which is good for him as they go up across the brow once again. And it's Dion Gowder, the race leader, side by side though. Alibi with the inside line. Kanato's going to try the outside line. It's the two Chris Dittman runners very much hard at it, and it's Gustav Johnson who's got ahead. The rookie plate, the number 5, 55, beg your pardon, has got the yellow background, which tells us that he's a first-year driver, and he's got ahead of Jack Sherwood here, who was on the podium yesterday. Jack Sherwood a little bit further back in this one, but the Chris Dittman team really finding a little bit of form this weekend, which is good to carry in towards the last couple of races or last couple of rounds of the season. Remember, we don't see these cars at Silverstone because they had a Silverstone GP round, part of a BARC club meeting. Now hard on the brakes goes Jack Sherwood. That was a move.
That was a bit of a manoeuvre there, late on the brakes. It's one of the only overtaking opportunities we have here, and I was a little bit distracted by another manoeuvre going on in the background, but I couldn't quite work out where they were.
You can't look everywhere,
no,
as you know from being race number 1. I tell you what, his teammate wasn't very happy with that. There was a lot of gesticulation there, but although they're teammates, they're racing for their own position. They've got their own budgets and they've got to do their own thing.
Yeah, there's no team orders here, unfortunately. Everyone's entitled to race their own race, and they're all racing for their own reasons. So, yeah, very entitled to pop a manoeuvre on your teammate every now and then, no matter how robust it is, but good and clean in the end.
Jack Sherwood telling me that the team had done a switch of engine in that car over the break that they had, as we now go on board with Deegan Fairclough. So Deegan, the man who, if you weren't joined us, didn't see us earlier on, won the reverse grid race. He was bitterly disappointed with his qualifying form. As we did in race number 2 of the weekend, Jamie, took us round the lap. What's he up to?
He's going to try and get a good exit out of here to maybe have a go at them into turn 1, but not the wisest of overtaking opportunities there. And Deegan had a good result this morning, so he definitely knows how to find the most out of his car around here. And he comes down to 5th gear through Duffy's Dip. Through turn 2, the King doesn't want to go too deep to affect preparation for turn 3. And just the dirty air giving him a little bit of a gap to the car in front. But here's when he'll notice it the most, but he has been quick through the chicane. He gets a good exit. No commentary curse there.
No, that's good. We hope not. He's a real charger, isn't he, Deegan? And he will have a go. Sonny Smith, his erstwhile JHR teammate, was one who would have a charge as well. Let's see what he can do as he now looks to the outside. Pat Hoytson-Roeder, the Aussie, is on the inside and down on the brakes. There's a gap there, and he gets it, throws the car in. Hoytson-Roeder on the outside run. Deegan Fairclough on the inside with her onboard camera, and he's going to try and get it, but Hoytson-Roeder got a better run out of the corner, and now Deegan's got to do that all again, but really good racing between the pair of them.
Yeah, good and hard and fair, and he just as I say it, he's going to have to probably stick it a little bit harder up the inside there. He just had to release out the brake and make it stick a little bit, but he is driving a little bit under the limit on overtaking side of things after having a few penalty points, bless him, but I think if that was early on in the year, he definitely would have made it stick.
And just for viewers to explain that, a driver, if you do any sort of indiscretion, usually totally, unintended, you do get points on your licence, and up to a certain point, like your road licence, you can lose it, can't you, your racing licence? And he's maybe in the territory where he doesn't want too many more.
Doesn't want too many more, and he obviously wants to start next year with a nice fresh licence. So as we see Piszczek going up the inside of Darianani, is it?
Yeah, it is. Physique having a good go. An Aussie with a Polish surname. I got taken to task for pronouncing the Polish incorrectly, but he is Aussie, and I did check with the factory on the launch day.
Incorrectly then?
I'm not going to say. You're not to know. You probably haven't worked with the fella, but yes, Physique, like rhymes with okay. Physique, is what we were told. It took me a couple of months to get the hang of it, to be perfectly honest, as these things do. But Jimmy Physique, yeah, he's won 2 races so far this year and running well. Meanwhile, we go back to the front. Dion Gowda for Carlin, and Will McIntyre, championship leader, will chase him down. Gowda under pressure here. I must admit, I really wanted to see a Louis Sharp-McIntyre battle, but we'll take the Gowda one. He's in 4th in the championship. What you want to see is the 2 championship battlers together. We don't tend to see it. McIntyre here, he's looking very racy and putting Gowda under a fair bit of pressure, and he's having a look here. He takes the outside line down into McIntyre's. Can't quite do it, but this is good pressure from McIntyre, and he's got that breathing space. Will he know at this point, Jamie, that Louis Sharp's not there?
You'd like to think so. You'd like to think he's been signed by someone that he's safe and going to take a good amount of points home in the championship here, and you don't want him to do anything silly. There's too much on the line to risk at the moment. We have still got 2 rounds left, but it can come down to 1 point at a time, so he just needs to use his head and stay where he is. But where they're young, they're fiery, they want to win every race they can, so I think if he sees the opportunity, he'll take it as well.
Kanato Lee coming under a little bit of pressure here from Jack Sherwood with the yellow mirrors. And Gustav Johnson, the young Swede, who is the rookie championship leader for first-year drivers, as we've said, signified by the yellow background to the numbers. And Johnson's having another go at Sherwood here. Sherwood, remember, passed him at the hairpin a few laps ago, and he's putting him under big pressure, big workout, very nearly using the escape road there. And this is occupying Jack Sherwood now and just dropping him back a little bit from Kanato Lee, who did that super recovery drive in the second race of the day when he got back up into the top 10. I think managed any big championship points, and Gabe Stilp setting the fastest lap of the race in contention for the rookie championship honours. He's 2nd in the rookies in this race, is Gabe Stilp. Back towards the leaders again, that characteristic lock-up that we get on these cars as they head back up the hill again, edging towards half distance and back on board with Deegan Fairclough, who's, remember, coming through from, I think, 2nd from the back and up into 13th place. So Pat Hoytson-Roeder still in front of him, and he will chase hard. But Will McIntyre, it's great to see someone here who could be just sitting back on the points, knowing that Sharp is back in 8th place and on 2 championship points. It's great to see Will McIntyre having a race. This is what we saw him do in Ginetta Juniors. He was never one to back off. He'd always want to go for the win.
No, and I think that's obviously why he's in the position he's in championship-wise. He's not afraid of giving it everything to try and have a few extra points here and there. But whether Gowda's started to get into a bit of a rhythm now, he's applying a bit less pressure, or he's dropping back, waiting for him to hammer his tyres or whatever. But I do think he will try and seize an opportunity again shortly.
There's Louis Sharp through on the inside. Well, he's actually defending from Stilp because they were in the position they are now. at the conclusion of the previous lap. So Sharp fending off Gabe Stilt, who's really learning these cars well, as we mentioned at Croft, but now coming under. Oh, and off goes the front wing of the number 12 car, and that is a big issue now for Josh Irfan, who is really going to struggle around with that. And that was for second position in the rookie category, and that's going to be a big effect, isn't it, on the car? And you can see him struggling with it now. Deegan Fairclough will close up. This is another place potentially gained here for Deegan. Moitzenroder still defending into Clark. Oh, and Fairclough nearly finds a gap on the inside of Clark. Not a traditional overtaking place at Knockhill, but if there's a gap, he'll go for it. Yeah, and he teed it up perfectly. He almost sold him a bit of a dummy, but again, just didn't quite fully commit to it, and Moitzenroder just gave him enough room. There they come, massive climb that these cars go through on the entry into that Taylor's hairpin, and then climb on the way back out up towards the start-finish line, much further on around the lap than that. The race leaders are still there, but the Indian driver, Dion Gowder, yeah, he does, Jamie, like you said, look, he's settled down now, and maybe we're getting into the mid-race blues. I tend to spot things that drivers will maybe attack in the first part, have a little bit of a lull, and then come back into it, get second wind in the later stages of the race, almost right in the final chapter of the book, trying to close in. So in comes the number 12 car, Josh Irfan. Not good for him in terms of the rookie championship. He was actually third in the rookie championship, so he's not going to make any inroads into Gabe Stilt. Another spinner as we go off there, Isaac Barashi in the 26 car, started last, actually last on track at the moment is Douwe de Decker. And we'll have a replay. Yeah, bouncy moment over the curbs. Can be a scary moment, that as well, but doesn't wind up with any big impact. Yeah, he's fortunate there, because there is a big bump in that grass there, so he just missed it. We've seen that in the touring cars this weekend, doing quite a bit of damage, unfortunately, but we're not meant to drive on there, so... Isaac will get back, all part of the learning experience. Again, rookie driver, first-year driver, and would be very welcome to come back, and it's often a sensible decision to come back for year 2 in the championship, which many of our drivers have done. Now, McIntyre, who's in second place, doesn't have there. We got a change for 5th position, and on the inside goes Kanato Lee, repays the compliment from earlier on. Jack Sherwood's in the mix as well, and he's going to challenge the red car, the young Englishman challenging the young South African. They're side by side again, over the brow, under the bridge, down into Duffus, and Sherwood had enough momentum to complete that. Neat move by Sherwood, but carries almost too much speed down into Duffus tip, and Alibi will go back through. Gustav Johnson's coming through as well. There's one thing about going through, but if you get too much momentum, as Sherwood appeared to have there, yeah, just went a little bit too deep and pinched turn 2 a little bit too much, which we're very fortunate to see them two come out of turn 3 with no contact there, because we've seen it happen a few times this weekend. And just got a little bit loose. That's a good save, given it was damp not too long ago. I'd assume it's still wet offline, and just slots in and only loses the one, which is very fortunate there. You're right, Jamie, it was a good save. Back with Deegan, half distance in this race. Fairclough in 12th place, and his target here, and it will not be easy, but to get into the point. So 12th place car at the moment, and he's got Moitzenroder and Noah Lyle in front of him, but are not easy cars to pass. Now we've got the young Swede in front, Gustav Johnson, the leader of the 2 CDR cars, and again, it's getting a little bit ragged there as through goes Louis Sharp. So Sharp makes up a place, and that is into 7th position now, Louis Sharp, so clawing the points back, and although he's not really at the moment going to be in with a shout of a win, any championship points he gets here, any improvement will count, possibly, when we go to Brands Hatch GP. Yeah, definitely, and he obviously had a little mistake at the start, needs to claw as many points back as possible, and that race we have in hand at Donington, he obviously starts second in and McIntyre's 5th, so yeah, as long as he can make the most of this race with the last 8 minutes we've got left and try nick a few more positions if possible, but it's going to be very tricky as like you said, everyone at this point starts settling down, but it doesn't look like they're settling down too much. There's still a lot going on. We saw Jimmy Physique go into pit lane, so he is out of contention as well. Sherwood again, he's got a 5-second track penalty, we're being told. Jack Sherwood there in the 78th. This race not going best for him. As I say, super day yesterday with a podium, and CDR getting closer and closer to that maiden race win. And it could come from either of these two guys, but Gustav Johnson, leading rookie. Gabe Stilt still second in the rookies. Douwe de Decker is 3rd in the rookie standings at the moment in terms of this race. We go back to the leaders, and unusually they're going to find a little bit of traffic, which I think is either going to be Josh Irfan or Isaac Barashi. We'll see as they close up. Now, this might make a bit of an issue depending on where they catch the car. Sure, the drivers will be aware that the faster cars or the lead position cars are coming through, but this can sometimes be a game changer for these boys. It's not something we see very often, is it? The lapping as Sherwood again still coming under pressure here from Gabe Stilp, who takes the wide run into McIntyre's. He'll try and get a little bit more of a run out of that. Not going to work for him at the moment, although he'll try and just build things up as they go. Different shot there you see going across the chicane, and then this fast uphill sweep into the right-hander at Clark, then round into the railway straight, down in towards the Taylor's hairpin we go once again. Still Gowder from McIntyre. Peebles in third place. Griffin Peebles having a quiet race, but could get a podium here in his first meeting with us, as Fairclough looks around the outside. Pat Hoytsenroder is making him work hard for this, rightly so.
He's doing a very good job of defending there, just covering the cutback, and Deegan obviously trying to get the draft now, and unsure whether we'll be able to do something into turn one, but we'll wait and see.
Hoytsenroder grabs a little bit of curb. You see how it unsettles the car there, and Deegan, as the chaser, can take the slightly wider line down through McIntyre's, heading up towards Butcher's now, or through Butcher's already, and down through the chicane. And he's just looking for that. He's on the grass, he's looking for that space. Loses a wee bit of momentum here. He'll start to build it up again, try and close in along the straight, and maybe look for the inside or go for the burn up round the outside again as they come down into Taylor's. Hoytsenroder's got it covered at the moment. Will he just pop back out and go slightly wider? No, he's covering the inside very well indeed, still maintaining that defensive pose. And Deegan Fairclough, again, frustrated at every turn here, wants to get up into 11th, wants to have a nibble at Noah Lyle for 10th and a championship point, but at the moment, nothing going for him. Still Gowder, and who's got the fastest lap? Still with Gabe Still. He keeps doing that now, just Gabe Still. Maybe a rookie, but he's getting so much confidence with the car. Now, here's our onboard car, the second of the quartet that we're looking at, and he's got the Fortec duo down behind him as well. James Higgins up ahead of Mika Abrahams. Mika having a very good run yesterday after coming through the field, had a problem earlier on. Had effectively a non-score in the second race of the day, but had a decent race yesterday. And Deegan's got to be reasonably careful of the people that are behind him. So it's Mika Abrahams behind, isn't it? And James Higgins behind Mika. So it's not just about looking ahead, is it? It's being aware of what's going on behind as well. No,
Hoytsenroder, if he has planned this, has done a good job just backing Deegan up into the cars behind. And here we see that natural ABS, I've been calling it, as they've been doing it every lap this weekend and making it work. But yeah, Hoytsenroder's got himself the gap he's been looking for, and that should give Deegan, if he's got a bit of a gap behind, a bit of a chance to cool off and think about another approach to try and take Hoytsenroder in the next few laps.
Is there that time to you? Oh, we've got another retiree or pit visitor, which is Kai Darianani, which is a shame. He was looking to do well here. But going back to that issue about getting a bit of a breather, does that work for you as a driver, or is it better to be full on these sort of short 20-minute races?
Because they're so short and the circuit's so short, and it's so easy for the car in front to defend the one or two only overtaking opportunities we have, and it might just give him a chance to reassess his options as such. Not that he's got many, but just give him a chance to think about where Hoytsenroder's weaknesses are, and he might be able to capitalise on it.
Yeah, back with the race leaders, and McIntyre chasing Dion Gowder. Gowder having a good run of this at the moment, looking for his third race win of the year. It's been one of those seasons, we were chatting in the paddock yesterday, so many 11 different winners in this category this year. I mean, sure, the reverse grid format kind of adds to the, you know, the possibilities of new drivers taking race wins, but even with that 11 race winners, what a competitive season this has been. But even more so when you think that 5 of the 5 race wins for Sharp and only 1 for McIntyre, and I think that might be in Will's head, that he's only had the 1 win. He's been consistent, he's had lots and lots of podiums, but now of course he wants to try and get near to the same number of wins that Louis Sharp's got, because there'll be a count back on the championship if they tie on points.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we have seen it before, like Max Futrell, who won in 2016. I think he had 2 wins, but 13 thirds or something. So obviously points mean prizes, consistency wins championships. So yeah, 2 different approaches to be where they are, but I think they're both doing a good enough job. But like you said, they're definitely going to want to try and snatch a win here or there, and if it does come to a level point scoring, then they will have to count back.
And it could do that, because we had, even though with the appeals we had that coming into today, but that's been overturned. But it could happen when we go to Donington. 4 races at Donington, 3 races on Brands Hatch GP at the end of the season. We've got an absolutely fantastic run into the end of the year here, and it's McIntyre who took the championship lead at Silverstone, the away day from the British Touring Car paddock that weekend. Louis Sharp had led the championship up to that point, and McIntyre just kind of getting both hands on it at the moment. Sharp still in the mix in 7th place, ahead of Jack Sherwood. He's trying to hunt down Gustav Johnson a little further back, but Dion Gowder's done a good little race here, and he's got clear. And McIntyre, I don't know, I get the sense that McIntyre maybe just settling for the points. No, still locking up, still going for it, but he ain't going to be unhappy with 2nd place points, Jamie, surely.
No, not at all. He obviously got his win back from yesterday, and I think a win and a second, you know how hard and tough this field is. I think he's going to be more than happy with that.
Here comes finally
making it stick.
Locks up as he just went in a little bit too hard. How much momentum has he got out of the corner? Sorry to cut across you there, Jamie. Right. Side by side of Pat Hoytsenroder is going to go, but look now, we've got the Fortec boys coming up. Mika Abrahams is having a go as well. The young South African raced in Denmark last year. Deegan Fairclough tries the outside line, uses a bit of the escape rope, grabs the curb, still collects it all up. Abrahams is all over him. Then we've got James Higgins in the mix as well. Remember, Higgins is a multi-race winner and pole position sitter in this, so we've got cracking drivers all the way down the order. Hoytsenroder gets another breather with 1 minute 20 to go. Possibly that was Fairclough's last chance to have a go, but he's a great attacking driver. A joy to watch in this one for sure. He's got that first win under his belt now, right and proper. As we say, he'd won one on the road before, but having the first win, reverse grid or otherwise, he will take that away. He is a race winner in ROKiT F4 British Championship. That's absolutely key for him. And probably on the penultimate lap now, and it's still Gowder by 0.8 of a second from McIntyre, who's 0.5 quicker than Kanato Lee, who's got ahead of Griffin Peebles now. And good for Kanato to come through and get into a podium position. Griffin won't be, I don't think, overly disappointed with 4th, but a good debut weekend for him, and he'll be back, as we said, in his Spanish F4 break with us in a couple of weeks' time at Donington Park, as James Higgins is going to have a look here and pops up the inside. Higgins with the green flashes on the car, Mika Abrahams with the blue, and it is Higgins that goes through. Neat pass by one teammate on another.
Yeah, the two teammates going at it together again there, and that would give Fairclough a bit of breathing room going on to the final lap, but whether the gap is just too big, he should be able to get close enough for the last corner to have another dive bomb like he did the last lap, and hopefully learn from his mistake.
Hopefully will. So, as you can see, final lap here of our 3rd race of the weekend here in Scotland. Thankfully, it's kept dry. I need to tell you, by the way, that it was Will McIntyre that grabbed the lap record from Ugo Chukwu. That was yesterday, and he improved on it this morning. 48.4 at the moment is not a new lap record time by Gabe Still, but he has got the fastest lap from this one. So he gets the Motol fastest lap at the moment, as up the hill Dion Gowder will take her 3rd win of the year, extending his championship lead. Behind Dion is the man in 2nd place, Will McIntyre. Kanato Lee, the Japanese driver, is 3rd. Then it is Griffin Peebles, 4th place in his debut weekend. A 5 result for him. Akil Alabai in 5th from Gustav Johnson, who rounds out the top 6 and wins the rookie category. Hoytsenroder did get the better of Fairclough in the end. Ahead of Hoytsenroder was Sherwood in 9th position, Noah Lyle in 8th place, and Louis Sharp, after his moment off the track on turn 1, recovers for 7th. The championship is far from over though, and Will McIntyre cannot really rest on his laurels. These two though, Dion and Will, decent race, nice to see. I think the track actually lends itself to a little bit of cat and mouse, I think we can call it. Not that many overtaking opportunities, but we see drivers putting pressure on, and we see drivers defending and responding to pressure as well. Yeah,
given the fact that there's such a little amount of overtaking opportunities here, they definitely made the most of them and made the racing entertaining for us. And yeah, it makes the championship fight a little bit more nitty and gritty going into the last 2 weekends now, with 3rd place up for grabs between Fairclough and Gowder now. So I'm not sure where that puts them, but yeah, we've got a good last few rounds ahead of us now.
Yeah, really looking forward to it. It's a come-to championship, you know. Hence we've got the likes of Griffin Peebles coming over during a break from Spanish F4. I was chatting to his mum and dad yesterday, and Mum said, I want to move to London. So I said, that means you've got to come and do the British F4 Championship next year. I hope they do join us next year. It'll be great to see him there in this very prestigious championship. Here's how they finished. Dion Gowder takes the 3rd win of the year. Will McIntyre, the championship leader, in 2nd from Kanato Lee. Griffin Peebles on his debut 4th ahead of Akil Alabai. Gustav Johnson winning the rookie category from Louis Sharp and Noah Lyle. 9th was Jack Sherwood, and Patrick Hoytsenroder hanging on for that last championship point in 10th place. 11th goes to Deegan Fairclough from James Higgins, who late doors got the better of Mika Abrahams. Gabe Stilp second in the rookies, and then it was Dowie Dedeker from Isaac Brashy and Josh Irfan, and issues with pit stops and such like for Jimmy Pizik and Kai Darianani, and Jimmy Pizik getting the fastest lap in the closing stages of the race. Well done to him. So as we head to our 4-race meeting at Donington Park in just a couple of weeks' time, we have Will McIntyre with 26 points, the lead over Louis Sharp. Dion Gowder is in third from Deegan Fairclough, and then Kanato Lee and Jimmy Pizik. James Higgins in seventh from Noah Lyle. Akil Alabai and Gabe Stilp wrapping up the top 10 here at Knockhill.